Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will call this meeting to order. Can I get a motion that the agenda for the January 17th, 2023 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented?
So moved.
Councilor Chenard will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion that the minutes of the January 10th, 2023 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented? Councilor Byron will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. We have no public hearings or delegations this evening. Moving on to item F, reading of bylaws. Can I get a motion that council give first reading to bylaw number 2284? Councilor Taylor will make that motion, and we have Mr. Daniel Lucas, our legislative officer, presenting on this evening. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. So as described in the request for decision and in the bylaw itself, this is a bylaw that would amend the existing town fees and charges bylaw. As Council is aware, the 2023 fees and charges bylaw represented a significant overhaul of what we had in place at the time, previously rather. Unfortunately, as part of the process of producing this bylaw, there's a manual transcription of our fees and charges into the new format. That process introduced the possibility for human error, in this case, my own human error. And this bylaw would correct a few omissions and typos that were not noticed in the first round. In particular, we'd be adding in some omitted discretionary use fees for both residential and commercial institutional industrial properties, adding in a clarifying note regarding dog license fees when those dog licenses are paid for at the very end of the year, and just replacing the word airport with the word aircraft to make it clear what we're referring to under our airport fees.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lucas, and thanks for your honesty. Keep in mind that there was a group of us that didn't catch some of those errors, so we all take responsibility. So any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing that, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get second reading of bylaw number 2284? Councilor Bevan will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion that bylaw number 2284 be placed for third reading? Councilor Moore will make that motion. All those in favor? Motion carried. And can I get a motion that council give third reading to bylaw number 2284? Councilor Byron will make that motion. All those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Lucas. We are moving on to the draft family and community support services advisory bylaw. Can I get a motion that bylaw number 2285 be given first reading? Councilor Byron make that motion, and this is going to be presented by Mr. Bob Beck, General Manager of Community and Protective Services, along with our Senior Manager, Tanya Byers. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So committee of the whole discussed this matter on July 12th, 2022. We continued our exploration of ways to enhance governance and public engagement for town's FCSS portfolio. So this proposed bylaw would further these objectives by establishing an FCSS advisory board comprised of one council appointee and up to 6 members of the public, thus providing an accessible and transparent mechanism for public involvement in FCSS governance. Council, this is all in the report, but we're presenting it so that the public can also see what the nature of the item is. The board's function would be purely advisory. As drafted, the bylaw does not delegate any decision-making power. Rather, the board would provide recommendations to council regarding FCSS programs, goals, and initiatives, and would function as a deliberative forum in which FCSS matters could be discussed. It also serves a democratic public engagement function. In addition to directly including members of the public, the board could accept delegations and hear representations from individuals and community groups. Section 9 of the bylaw establishes their overall responsibility and authority in more precise terms, and authorizes what the board can consult on, evaluate, and provide recommendations on all aspects of the FCSS portfolio. It also affirms that council would act as the approving authority for the town's FCSS grants. But they would be run past the FCSS board for their input. Section 7 addresses appointment and removal. Section 8 clarifies procedural matters. At its July 12, 2022 meeting, the committee at the time asked us to discuss with Yellowhead County having it be a county town board so that there would be county councilors also could be on the board. In discussion with county administration, it was felt that that was not required and that our current agreement suffices for them to have their interests looked at for the county. But we did include that county residents can sit on the board. So that's the way it's drafted. So we recommended the motions as outlined in the report. We know that there was good discussion about whether or not this was a good thing to do it in July of last year. We know that there might be an alternative to that. And if council wishes to remain the advisory board rather than establishing an arm's length board, we would probably work on that terms of reference, clean it up a bit, and then bring it back to council for adoption.
All right, thank you, Mr. Beck, for your presentation. Council, I'll open the floor to questions. Any questions?
You did a great job.
All right, well, if there are no questions, I will call the Councillor Byer.
Thanks, through the chair too, Mr. Beck. If we proceed with this, how quickly would we kind of be expecting to start this?
That's a good question. We would try to put together a plan for recruitment of a board. And so we have to get a bit of a game plan together for that and let that run for a couple of months and bring back anyone who applies to council for appointment to the board. So we're looking into the end of first quarter. And these are quarterly meetings, only 4 times a year. So it's certainly this year is what we anticipated.
Any other questions? My only question through to administration here under membership 5.1, and you spoke to this in your presentation, up to 1 member from council and up to 6 members from the public at large. It also references Yellowhead County residents can apply as well. Is there a maximum amount of Yellowhead County residents?
I don't think we have.
Not as currently drafted.
No, we didn't have that.
I don't know if that's a concern or not to council. That there may be more county residents on this board than town residents. The way I kind of look at it is we are one community as it is. I don't think we necessarily in Edson look at borders much. So I'm comfortable with it, but I just wanted to point that out to council just in case somebody may have a concern with that. I think we would want the best and the brightest. I don't think it really matters if they were slightly outside of Edson because they still see as the town as their home. So I don't see anybody with any concerns with that. So no other questions or comments. I will call the question. All those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get second reading to bylaw number 2285? So moved. Councillor Taylor, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion for placement of third? So moved. Councillor Chouinard, all those in favor? Motion carried. And can I get a motion that the reading of bylaw number 2285 be given? Councillor Bevan, all those in favor? Motion carried. And can I get a motion that council rescind the Family and Community Support Services Advisory Committee terms of reference? Councillor Taylor, all those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, reports from administration. Hot topic.
Good one, Mr.
Bad mayor jokes. Can I get council direct administration to proceed with the additional investigation of the hot tub issues as outlined in the January 17th, 2023 request for decision. Councilor Bernard will make that motion, and we have Mr. Bob back with us, as well as Crystal Hobolt, our recreation manager.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We've got some additional information to the report, which we were even working on this issue today, but we'll present it as part of the presentation. As council knows, we're actively pursuing redevelopment of the leisure center. Including construction of a new aquatic facility, of course. During assessment of the facility last year, leakage from the existing hot tub was confirmed on the exterior building and in the basement of the facility. And the councilors that were lucky enough to come on that tour that day were able to see some of the seepage. This is a long-standing issue. Prior to the 2022 assessment, hot tub leakage was known to be occurring, and it's been investigated numerous times with no resolution. So the architectural and engineering firm working on the multiplex project had recommended against reopening the hot tub until the cause of the leakage is determined and confirmed that subsurface conditions in and around the hot tub pose no hazards. In particular, the engineer and contractor raised concerns, maybe potential voids in the ground caused by long-term leak of water from hot tub. It's not a secret, that's what happens when you have a long-standing leak of water. That's where sinkholes come from in town streets. So that's, we kind of known it could be an issue. We've been reluctant to expend large amounts on engineering for the hot tub, given the ongoing work to redevelop the leisure center. So we're at a bit of a crossroads here, and that's why it's in front of council. The closure of the hot tub is a significant loss of amenities for facility users. Given that a new facility is forthcoming and given that the costs involved in exploring and implementing interim solutions, it is unclear the extent to which staffing and financial resources should be invested in the solution. Preliminary estimate of $50,000 for engineering consulting work to investigate hot tub matter has been provided. I'll give you the context on that. It was advice from another community that went through this, and their comment to me was, you could easily spend $50,000 on engineering and not like the answer. So that's kind of the context that it was. So we never sought a cost from an engineering company, just to be clear. So far, the YCE architects and their contractor have been doing all this work kind of for free, and it's not being billed for the YCE project. Contracted services funds have been approved in the budget. We didn't include a specific amount to address what we would need to do this. And it's a cost-shared facility with Yellowhead County. They're aware of the issue. In fact, our county participant or counterpart participated in our Teams meeting, our virtual call with our consultant today. So they're well aware. County administration is. So stakeholder involvement, users are contacting town office. They're not happy. Formal consultation with Yellowhead County would be required, but we've done informal consultation. They're a full partner in this facility. So as of today, after further talking about it with our the project architect for YCE, but also someone that they've got on their team from a contractor, Chandler's Construction. They have indicated that we could pursue this in engineering solutions, and we're unlikely to be happy with the answers we get. And so, in their opinion, it would not be a good use of money to hire them or engineers to continue investigating it. In fact, what they said was whether or not they're involved with the YCE project, the multiplex moving forward, they would recommend we focus all our efforts on getting that going and not exploring this hot tub matter further. The gentleman from Chandos was very informative. He's worked on well over 100 of these facilities. It's the age of the facility, which a number of councillors told me at the start of this project. He's seen it too many times. It's just the age of the concrete. And it's 40 years old. Back then, they did not use sulfate resistant concrete. They didn't use a lot of things that we use now, and pools do not last that long. So it's really, it's kind of doubling down on the dialogue report where they said for sure the pool is beyond its life. And so their advice is they would not recommend we bother, and that we find a way to tough it out without that. So we're actually recommending that you defeat the motion that we recommended in the RFP.
All right, thank you for that very informative, detailed report. Council, questions, comments, concerns? Councillor Positioning.
Yeah, through the chair to administration. I definitely do not support spending any money on that hot tub. You know, you start talking $50,000, you can buy a swim spa. And literally have one hauled in tomorrow and have it up and running. So there's just no room in that building for it, but yeah, I wouldn't support any spending money on that.
Thank you, Councillor Positioning. Councillor Meyer.
Thanks, through the chair to administration. I agree with Councillor Positioning. I certainly would, after realizing that there's been 2 previous investigations that have been no resolutions on that, certainly wouldn't support that $50,000 to put towards that. But to further to what Councillor Positioning mentioned, so I've seen hotels put like Arctic spas, hot tubs as their hotel hot tub. If we're expected to, you know, like I know some people use hot tubs for therapeutic reasons as well, right? And also comfort. Is there any possibility that something like that could fit in the pool or aquatic center? Until the next.
Mr. Mayor, we could investigate it. We had a quick talk about it. Yeah, I think we'd have to talk to Chandos and Dialogue again. I think they're a little scared about how we meet code. There's some code issues we might have. So it might not be as simple, like we talked about that, and I'm familiar with another community that did do that. But their time span was, as I explained to CO Beverage, the time they knew they weren't redeveloping their pool for about 10 years. And so because of the cost of the temporary hot tub that they put in, including a deck, they knew that they would use it for 10 years. And so they were willing to eat that cost over a 10-year period. So it could be quite costly for us to do it. I know it sounds simple, but nothing is simple for government. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and there's also, we're bound by pool standards, and so they're complicated and for a public facility and a little bit different than hotels too. So that can be a challenge as well.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor, and then Councillor Chouinard.
Yeah, through the mayor to council and administrators, and I'm on side with Councillor Positioning, Councillor Byer. I was a little bit torn. Obviously, I didn't want to spend any money on the hot tub either. But at the same time, as a user, it also forced me to actually spend time with my children in the pool and go down the slide a whole bunch of times, and that's horrific. But I really don't want to dump any money into this. My only concern is there any damage like underneath in the ground that we think would cause problems with the future construction of the multiplex? In terms of, you said cooling, what was the words you used? Cooling underneath the ground. See, what was that, sir? Sinkhole. Any issues like that we, may cause future problems?
Just Mayor, they didn't seem too concerned with that, and because but they didn't do any. They did no real testing. They didn't even do NDT, which is non-destructive testing, as during the engineering assessment. But certainly they're anticipating that we're demolishing that entire pool. So I don't think they're concerned about that, because they're anticipating we're knocking that down.
Go ahead.
Further to the mayor. And then I guess the challenge is now we have a significant portion of that facility is unavailable. We're not providing that service to our community. Look, we may not be able to bring something in, but can we do something? I hate to think about, reducing fees or something like that, but we are. We're asking people to pay the same amount that they would have when they would have had a hot tub, and now they're not, and that's a significant. Service issue, so especially when we come out and say we're not fixing this and you're not gonna have a hot tub for 2 years. So then that creates that challenge, so I'm torn as to what to do. I hate to do something like that, but any ideas are welcome.
Do you want Mr. Beck?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, actually, we did talk about that, that when we were reviewing the fees and charges bylaw, that was gonna be on the agenda, and we have talked about it, that maybe that is something, if council feels that would be something we could do, we could absolutely bring something back. A reduction in the fees and charges bylaw it is a significant loss of amenity, and we're hearing from people that it's really a beloved part of the pool and they're missing it.
Yes, I am.
Thank you, Mr. Beck. Go ahead and see the member.
Through to council to see if council was wanting administration to pursue exploring other options in regards to fees and reducing the fees and charge, or any other options. We would require a motion in order to do so, to give further direction, because this can go, that goes to exploring whether or not an alternate tub would be, an option, or fees and charges. So it spans out fairly large when it comes to this situation. So we would want pretty specific direction as to where to spend our time on this matter.
Councillor Schnarr.
Through the mayor to Bob, or not only the 50,000, they give you any wild idea if they were to fix it? I mean, that's got to be, if it's 50,000 engineering, it's going to be $500,000 to $1 million to fix, I imagine.
Mr. Mayor, we did find a newspaper report of another community up north that had some sort of problem with their hot tub. We were trying to get a hold of that person to find out exactly what it was. Sounded somewhat familiar, so their council just made a motion to spend $540,000 to replace the hot tub. So that's the only one and that's in the last 2 weeks.
Well, that's the only point I'd like to point out, because yes, people are missing it. It's not only 50,000. Then you tell the public you want us to spend 500,000 plus to keep you in a hot tub for 2 to 3 years. So for building a new one, it's not only 50,000, and the $500,000 plus would be something we can put in there, because even where people may be saying, well, I'm paying to go to the pool, but I don't get to use the hot tub. So what? Because when new one comes in, it may go up slightly. So I think people should be just pleased that we are keeping the pool open, and we don't have to announce not only the hot tub's 40 years old, the pool's 40 years old, and we have to close them both. So somewhere that would be, people would have to be patient. The new one should be coming.
Thank you, Councillor Schnarr. Councillor Pisichny.
Yeah, through the mayor to maybe council and all, but I think a couple things to remember is I wouldn't support lowering any fees. It costs a lot of money to run the pool. We're in the process of building a new pool. There's a lot of curlers in this community. Would have loved to still have a curling rink, but they're holding out for a new curling rink. It's a small portion of a very large building. We have the pool is the biggest part of that area. If we were shut down the pool, that'd be a different story. But it's just a hot tub. There's still a sauna that's hot you can go into, and I understand it's a loss, but at this time we need to focus on the new facility and get that shovel in the ground so we can get this thing built. Because as we know, it starts with the hot tub, and then it's the pool, and then we don't have a pool. So I think at this time we need to make a decision to not spend any money on this hot tub and move on.
Councillor Bevan.
Through the chair to administration. Yeah, I'm the same with the council position. I wouldn't support a low Indian fees, because not everybody uses it. There's a handful of people losing it, so everybody's and we need everything we get out of there. And I wouldn't support of going and looking at putting anything on there. You put hot tubs onto something that's a load bearing. Is that cement going to hold up a hot tub? Or do we end up falling that through the floor and have a big crack coming into the pool again? And then we got the pool shut down and everything else. So I mean, we're going to spend money to go that way. I'm not prepared to spend the money like that. And like Council Position, he said, our curlers have been going here 3 or 4 years now without a curling, and they're waiting and that. And so I wouldn't support it. No.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? When I first read this on the agenda, I felt the same way as council, that it's not the 50,000, what comes after the 50,000. You're talking about ripping up concrete. We've got a 40-year-old building, and then all of a sudden we do something and something else breaks, and that's one of my concerns too. If you bring something else in to try to do a temporary fix, we already know we have electrical issues in parts of that building, so it's unfortunate. I know people are very disappointed. I've had more calls on this than snow removal, so that tells you something. But I think it speaks to why we are building a new facility and why the urgency to get shovels in the ground this year. Something that we've talked about at the steering committee meeting is we can't wait any longer. We're just, thankfully our staff are keeping that thing going. You know, the hot tub has been an issue for the last number of years with ongoing issues. Our fees that we charge currently, we know, are low, and they are going to be going up to pay for the new facility. I mean, you're going to have a lot more nicer amenities in there. I know some people are making the choice not to go right now because of the lack of the hot tub, and those are the choices that we have to make. So I will be voting against this motion. If nobody else has any questions, I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion defeated unanimously. Thank you very much. Is there any other motions that anybody wants to make? I see none coming to the floor. Last call. All right, we are going to move on.
No, that was
That was-
more.
Yeah, if somebody wanted to explore, we could debate that, but. Can I get a motion, please, that council approve the endorsement letter for administration's application to the Northern and Regional Economic Development Program for funding towards the development of an economic development strategy as set out in attachment 1. Councillor Bevan will make that motion, and we have our economic development officer Kundi with us. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm just here to present on the motion that council approved the endorsement letter for administration's application to the Northern and Regional Economic Development Program as funding towards the development of an economic development strategy. So last year, December 16, our Better Jobs Economy and Northern Development developed the Northern and Regional Economic Development Program and opened intakes last year as a means to provide resources to accelerate economic development. So as you may recall, from last year, we did put economic development strategy in our plan. It's something to work towards in 2023, and that we put money in the budget for. So in seeing this opportunity for funding, where a grant could cover up to 50% of the cost, we just thought it would be a good opportunity for us, improvement, to apply for it. So as things stand right now, we are working to submit an application before the January 22nd deadline, for which council's endorsement is one of the requirements for a complete application. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kundi. Questions, council? Councillor Sharp.
Through the mayor to Mr. Kundi, if I said it right. How many towns are involved in this? Do we have any idea? Like Northern, roughly how many towns would be involved in this?
So, through the mayor to Councillor Conrad, as of now, we have no idea how many towns are involved in the application process.
No, I don't mean the application like that would be members. Like I agree that we're going to apply for it, but we have an indication of how many northern towns could probably strengthen numbers. So I'm all for it, but I'm just curious how many other towns.
Councillor Sharp, this is our application.
But no, I'm just asking, you know, as economical guy, if there's other people involved.
Well, this is for us.
No, I totally agree this is for us,
So
but
I
I'm
don't
wondering.
understand what your question is.
My question is, how many other towns is a question that would be interested in the same thing?
I don't know how that's relevant.
Well, just curious.
Okay.
Strength in numbers. I know
Well,
that we're
actually,
doing
if
that.
there's more people applying, then that's actually not good for us.
No, but then if we do apply and it works, then it's good.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Councillor positioning.
Through the mayor to community. Is this related to the RETA? To the Regional Economic Development Authorities? This isn't the same thing, is it?
No, it is not. Those are actually, I don't believe funding's provided for those anymore.
I thought they had funding for them, and that's what I was kind of wasn't sure if it was related to that or not, but
I don't know, Cody? No, not to my knowledge. No.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Any questions? All right, I will call the question. All those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you, Kundi. Any information items, no sundry items, council committee reports are going back to last week. And Councillor Byer.
Thanks. On Monday, January 16th, I attended the Community Futures West Yellowhead Edson triage report, which council supported. I think it was $8,000 or $9,000, the fee to have a third party call all our businesses and kind of follow up with them post COVID. And we went over the results and it was fantastic. And I can't say anything because Nancy wants to present it to you herself. So.
And that's it.
That's it.
All right, Councillor Bellin.
January 11th, we had a senior transportation meeting. 2023 budget was accepted. Seniors is looking at doing another fundraising here later on in summer, maybe early fall. Board orientation binders were distributed to all the directors with all our bylaws in their annual general meetings. Monthly selections, financial audit. 6-month performance review on the ED was held in the closed session. And that is it.
All right, thank you, Councillor Evan. Councillor Taylor.
Nothing to report.
Councillor Pacici.
My report is the same as Councillor Taylor's.
Councillor Chenard.
I have a report. January 11th, Chamber of Commerce meeting. The only highlights or important dates, AGM is March 15th at noon at the Chamber Council or the Chamber Trade Show 28th, 29th, and the Summerfest is 12th to 14th. And that's it for my report.
Councillor Moore.
Thank you. January 15th, I attended the Edson and District Historical Society planning meeting. And it was very fruitful meeting, lasted 5 hours. And I wish they put another coal in the fire. I almost froze to death. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, it was a very productive meeting and it highlighted the great history of this organization and things look very bright for the future. On January 16th, I attended part of the Community Futures West Yellowhead meeting.
All right, thank you. I have nothing to report. No financial items, questions from media and public regarding items from this council meeting. Do you have Nikki on the line? Hey, Nikki, do you have any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. We have no closed meeting session. Motion for adjournment. Councillor Chenard, all those in favor, motion carried. Good.